Palm Bay. So now both teams are going to have to make some adjustments. I would have expected the quad ultra heavy with the Sky Raider. Seems to be a dominant strategy, but now 2 of those key pieces have been removed on Palm Bay.
And that makes the team fights a lot more decisive, especially when you remove something like a Hurricane that has a lot of stall, that has the ability to peel for your teammates in really unique ways. Now that you don't have that, I'm looking at like Manbu's Aquila, for example, way easier to focus that out. And by the same token, things like Tricera and Stego carry a lot more risk with them, as much as I'm happy to see that both of them are available on this map because they basically embody the essence of what it means to win Palm Bay Harbor.
Yeah, Aquila and Inferno, I think, are going to be heavy difference maker strikers in this mirror match to open the series. I mean, I wouldn't really pick any other way. It's a real test of raw skill, both teams having the same strategic read with this ban pick.
Taking a look at what Reset is running, swapping to the Tricera is interesting. He has played a fair amount of Tricera, also known for some Inferno play throughout the tournament, so just seeing him swap up to the Tricera, play a little bit more defensively, is indicative of what ANUBYSS are going to be going for overall. Giving Kishinma the Inferno is also great, because as a typical Falcon player, you're not going to be getting as much value out of being in the skies for this particular matchup, but at least you can rely on him to bring the curious off angles, the DPS, and knowing how to stay safe on somebody like Falcon does translate really well to Inferno.
And with no Hurricane in the match, I think Aquila and Inferno are really going to be able to let loose and dump that damage from range. So eyes on the sky for both teams as they look to control those off angles, control those flanks, and win the pressure fight on the payload. Now we see the rollouts, both teams entering Palm Bay Harbor.
Laser focused on this Welkin matchup as well. Welkin can dominate any game realistically, but especially on Palm Bay Harbor. We've seen good Welkins rip teams apart, and Supadopa has... I think it would be crazy to say that he is not in contention for being a top Welkin, but Tuobi has been going off today.
ANUBYSS, despite being on blue side, taking an early high ground advantage. Typically we see the red side team win that high ground fight. Really well positioned by this Japanese squad. They look to get an early advantage. Veda wants to start pumping damage on Inferno. Celestial Being taking the fight to the objective. Now both teams starting this brawl, very chaotic.
ANUBYSS has the advantage, and they are slowly capping the point. It looks like A is going to go to ANUBYSS, and just as we say that, it does. So, as soon as it started, the fight now essentially can be over. Both teams backing off to their respective payloads, and ANUBYSS able to stay safe, not drop anybody. CB, much the same.
Hold on.
Big pick.
ANUBYSS finding 2 openers, soon to be more. Both teams continuing this fight on the low ground, but majorly advantage right now for ANUBYSS. Supadopa is traded back.
Whoa.
Celestial Being, the rest of their players are healthy. Despite being down 2 strikers, they're fighting very well.
With both Welkins down, Tubi is going to come back into the game just now. Zex following that right up. Noticing there is a pretty substantial lead for the side of ANUBYSS, 25 to 15%. This will be largely equalized by the weight as we approach the opening of Cap Point A.
Inferno with the decoys. Kishinma dancing out for a second, but it's not enough, is cut down. And so with the B point soon to be activated, Celestial Being trying to push that striker advantage. So far, been unable to secure a second pickup. Kishinma should be back to help fight this B point.
This is the biggest contributor to your damage is Kishinma. And if you're able to find more picks, that'd be even better. Surprising to see Veda picked off, though. Supadopa on the Welkin, making it happen for ANUBYSS. Now, big advantage given over to ANUBYSS as the fight on B is sure to start without everyone being around for CB to contest.
Manbu over the top, under pressure from Supadopa. Capture control, position dominant for ANUBYSS right now. Celestial Being have to get in, have to recommit, lest this advantage start to compound for ANUBYSS. Cap will be going the way of ANUBYSS, though, with no strikers falling in either squad. The tankiness favoring the team to be in position first. That pickoff from Supadopa starting to pay dividends.
Now, I will say to ANUBYSS's credit, they have played this really well. They've captured things really quickly. They've been very efficient. You and I can both acknowledge, Jake, that the game really begins once we hit point C.
Yeah.
Once we get into the open, that's where all of this little bits of chip damage, small advantages that ANUBYSS have stacked up, that's where it really matters.
I like that Kishinma is dominating this high ground, putting the pressure on his opponent. It's very unlikely he's going to actually find a striker kill here, but that's not necessarily what he's looking for. What's key is as these carts start to exit the buildings, there is a moment where you can really be flanked, pressured from all sides. Here, we're starting to see this contest for high ground. Veda under pressure, boxed by Supadopa, starting to stun down, trying to chain onto this Inferno, uses the decoy, stays alive for now. But roof dominance secured for ANUBYSS. The difficulty for Celestial Being will be coming out into the open.
And if he used that whole thing, it's like a 20-second cooldown on the safety that Inferno has. Does jump up to meet Kishinma, maybe deal a little bit of damage here and there, but Supadopa again is all over him, protecting the sky supremacy of his own Inferno, and Veda trying desperately to get out is not going to make it. That's a huge pick for ANUBYSS as we approach point C.
Supadopa so aware on this Welkin, marking these heavy damage dealers. Now onto Manbu, forcing the Aquila back away from the engagement. Cart advantage starting to accrue here for ANUBYSS. Next point about to be open. ANUBYSS, though, taking the fight all into the high ground, bringing everybody doubling down with their Inferno. Tuobi was trying to challenge the sky, was cleared from that position. Supadopa, though, now under some pressure. Can he continue to engage? Both teams up to 6 strikers.
I mean, Tuobi is just second to the play. Supadopa has the Welkin advantage in this particular game, is making first move, is getting up in the face of the enemy team. Massive amounts of damage dealt out by Supadopa. However, Veda is back in the game, and that's a chance for CB to open things up. Well, point C's already been capped, and it is ANUBYSS that have the advantage. It's by a little under 10%. But that's going to be more than enough to force CB to pile onto ANUBYSS's cart and take the fight there.
Kishinma trying to grab a back cap, can't quite pressure it just yet. Bringing the damage from this Inferno onto that main group from Celestial Being. Both teams very, very tight on the objective progress, but a clear advantage for ANUBYSS means they don't necessarily have to stop Celestial Being's progress. As long as they maintain this status quo, they're going to be happy.
It is going to come down to a final fight. I'm surprised to see CB maybe not committing to this a little more to try and unseat ANUBYSS.
Here it comes.
But all 6 players are going to have to get in on top of ANUBYSS's cart to stop this, and they're going one by one for now. Veda playing up on the high ground, but Zex extremely low right on the cart as Tuobi on the Welkin is struggling to even get involved in the fight, gets cut off by Supadopa, and finally is spinning all over the payload. Will it be enough, though, or is it too little, too late for Tuobi? Is getting some healing right now to stay in the fight, get there a little bit longer, but the spins aren't connecting for much damage, and ANUBYSS, without stopping for air, set us up with 100 to 86 in round 1.
Minima unfazed, unsurprised here in this player game. Not even happy. Just deserving that win. As if there was no other option. And ANUBYSS was just immovable that entire game. I mean, they had their game plan. They executed to perfection, in position earlier on the objective 3 times in a row. Closed out that game. I mean, Celestial Being felt like they were just a step behind. I mean, running a very similar strategy, but getting outplayed at key moments. I'm thinking back to the Welkin. I'm thinking back to Supadopa punishing the Inferno, being willing to leave. We've seen so many Welkins focus very much on boxing their team's main group, using that shield defensively, taking a ton of damage. Yes, that is important, but ANUBYSS are able to send their Welkin out on the map to earn kills, create advantages, and at the same time, their main group is never in question. They've never lost that key turret setup.
And it requires a lot of trust from the team to be able to extend like that, to have a huge playmaker, but also safety tool like Welkin away from the core group. And that's a big deal. But when somebody's doing it as well as Supadopa is, it's hard to say, I'd rather have you with me, when he and Kishinma together are creating huge openings. The amount of fights over B and C specifically that started without Veda, CB's Inferno, even in the game at all, was a huge factor in ANUBYSS being able to capture 3 points and maintain the lead. They never slowed down.
And as far as MVP goes, I'm not sure what the technical calculation is going to be, but I think you've got to look at Supadopa as being that difference maker.
Yeah.
Being the one to mobilize wherever he... Sometimes he is playing the main group and playing that shielding playstyle. Other times he makes the read that it's more important to help secure his team a key position, such as that high ground exiting onto point C. And he makes the move confidently, shows up there and turns that into kills, turns that into an advantage that snowballs into the point C capture, which as we see on Palm Bay, often that point C cap does dictate the outcome of the match.
Yeah, I do think mathematically, I wouldn't be surprised if we got a super dope MVP either. He's doing a lot of damage, often on the point, especially around capturing objectives, not necessarily the payload, but Welkin big, Welkin good, and when we talk about being behind the play, Welkin also a great indicator of who's first to it. We called it out, especially in the fight over at point C, but Twoby, through no fault of his own necessarily, was doing everything that Superdopa was doing, but 30, 45 seconds later, and it just wasn't enough at that point.
This is exactly the start I think that ANUBYSS wanted in the series. It's a close Palm Bay. I mean, I don't think there was any world in which this would be like a crazy blowout. Celestia being are too good for that. However, it wasn't that close, right? ANUBYSS was in control the whole time. You know, the best Celestia being was able to do was to equalize the card at moments, but they never had an advantage. They never had the lead. From an opening decisive team fight where kills just went the way of ANUBYSS, they pressured better, and even on the blue side, who I think conventionally has a bit of a harder time in the very opening fight of Palm Bay, ANUBYSS are still able to get the advantage right there and just snowball it.
Yeah, I mean, really good play from ANUBYSS and exactly what we'd expect from a team that got to the grand finals in the way that they did. I think that the concern for CB fans now may be that this is expected to be a map where your strategy that got you out of the lower finals should have worked here.
Yeah.
And it didn't. But by the same token, it is just game one. They did keep it pretty close, and it's not like there aren't other maps that they've succeeded on that are still available to them. This will be an uphill battle, but it was always going to be.
Minima, 0 damage. He is locked in on the healing, but that's working for ANUBYSS. Really prioritizing. That's interesting. Usually we see, you know, these Lumines throw a little bit of damage here and there, but Minima not valuing that at all. And honestly, hard to question because there were so many moments where I thought, okay, surely CB are going to just dump everything and be able to break this cart setup, but not once were they able to. Reset racking up the merit points there, largely from riding the cart. And I think a lot of that comes from the coordination. It's Zhuhai, it's Superdopa, it's Minima, along with Reset. Playing, I think, the best main group turret setup of any team in the tournament. And frankly, that's been decisive. That's led to the key victories in so many series here in Zhuhai.
Interesting that they ended up going as ANUBYSS with the Inferno as well, unlocking a lot of damage potential, but clear as day, Superdopa, we called it, and it looks like it was recognized. The MVP of the game, not just for the damage, not just for the objective presence, but for both and the ability to spearhead the team, to decide where they're going to attack and enable that, something that Welkin, more than any other striker, is capable of doing.
And I think Superdopa was really aware of the advantage matchup against Inferno and was really forcing that 1v1 time and time again, putting the pressure on Celestial Being, denying the Inferno, whether he's killing the Inferno in some of these opening fights, which is huge, or he's just forcing the Inferno to stop DPSing. That protects the main group. I mean, I think this is a really wise choice. You could just box the objective and play to tank up over there, but in the end, the Inferno probably is going to outdamage your raw tanking ability if the Inferno is free firing. So taking the fight to Inferno might be just a better decision for Welkin players at home when it comes to their ability to create space for this main group on the objective.
And it does require communication, trust, as we said earlier, a big part of ANUBYSS, but I don't think that's something that we've seen lacking from them at any point in the tournament. If anything, it can be said that ANUBYSS really have a lot of faith in each other, and I'm never seeing them police the decisions of other pilots on their team. They are working as a cohesive unit, and I struggle to think of a time, Jake, where I looked at ANUBYSS and went, you could have team played a little bit better there. Yeah,
there's just no distance between those players. There's so much trust there, and to see them coming off game one, smiling, laughing, we saw in those Team Celestial Being player cams, not many people talking. That makes me a little bit worried about this series. A team like ANUBYSS, give them an inch, they take a mile. Team Celestial Being, they're going to take us to Eye of Mizra. They were able to win close, tense matches here before. Now, hovering the Aquila ban, maybe this is the striker that changes things.
Banning Aquila does feel like more harm than good for Celestial Being, if I'm honest. Manbo's been so good on this, and while I know you want to ban out Ciaran because snipers are good, I would also love to see Team Celestial Being make use of this. I hope they've got a counter pick, something special for Manbu prepared.
Welkin bans come in. Very interesting here. Could be very challenging to capture some of these keys. Kishinma on the signature Falcon. That's a pick we've been waiting for in this series. Zhuhai's over to the ANUBYSS, and it's going to be Supadopa hopping back on the Tricera.
Yeah, this Welkin ban has really thrown a wrench into things. Reset moving over to the Inferno from Tricera. We do note this is something that he can play. He's actually played it before in the tournament, but all this to accommodate a Kishinma Falcon. Seems worth it, to be honest. The guy's a really good Falcon player. Zhuhai's also back on the ANUBYSS is going to be a huge threat generator.
Celestial Being, though, they're going to gamble on Veda 9 Sky Raider. This was a successful play for them the last series when they played Eye of Mizra. However, this is Kishinma we're talking about. Will he still be able to match up in that flyer duel? That's the only daylight between these teams' compositions. ANUBYSS sticking with their guns, confident in the raw individual execution of Kishinma. And Team Celestial Being, no surprise, believing in their team play as the key that will win them this day.
Eye of Mizra really going to test the team coordination. Removing the Welkin, I think, is a nice move. Just weirdly enough, it comes from ANUBYSS. It's very strange that after getting a Welkin MVP, you take that out, but I also see it as something that lets you flex between points a lot better, because otherwise, we've seen Welkins do this before, especially when you've got a Falcon on the map. If you send a Welkin over to cap point C when nobody else is there, and only a Falcon goes to meet him, that Falcon can't do anything against a box.
Yeah, box and grab the objective is free, so maybe this is a sort of quasi-protect for Kishinma's Falcon as we're on board with him, opening up on Eye of Mizra, coming in for a quick sortie on this turret setup. And with no box, I think he can also push the limit quite a lot harder in terms of being willing to take risks, dive in, reset absolute max range on this Inferno, pumping damage.
That's true. Excited to see what it looks like with the Sky Raider as well. Two very different styles of flyer. One sort of a caster in a way, and the other very much a hunt you down, take you out style of DPS. Kishinma, his job is going to be pressure and creating opportunities for CB to split up so that he can isolate and destroy. Gets a critical cooldown out of Manbu, and we'll take Manbu out of the sky. You are grounding an Inferno, which in itself can be a huge boon to your team.
Slight advantage for Team ANUBYSS. Celestial Being has a couple players dropping low. They're going to make a push forward, but ANUBYSS falling back, tactically retreating, moving towards the objective. I don't think this is due to the pressure from Celestial Being. I think ANUBYSS just want to be first to the objective. They've consistently shown that on Palm Bay as a successful strategy, and Reset up to a nice flanking position on this Inferno, dumping damage on the unsuspecting members of CB coming in through the choke point.
This was a great setup by Reset. It may even be the thing that wins ANUBYSS this team fight. Such a huge amount of damage to open things, even in a game with such high time to kill as Mecha break. Damage, it sticks.
It's quite a lot of damage being dumped. Zhuhai's now. See what he can get done. Charging up on the ANUBYSS, looking to do damage, but not overextend. Both teams starting to get chaotic now in the dark room around point A. Mistakes can be made. Under pressure are both squads.
Watch point C as well. That is going to be the next point to spawn, and if both teams play this well and are able to stall this out, point C will be where things happen.
Toby looking for more. Crack in the armor exposed for Team ANUBYSS. One of the first times we've seen them struggle. And ANUBYSS form is popped as well. Celestial Being, player advantage inside the room. Still fighting this out, though. Team ANUBYSS, they're not backing down easily. Minima sustaining the squad incredibly well. And Supadopa trades onto Zex. Hold on. Celestial Being, it may be slipping away from them.
Point C about to spawn. 30 seconds away. Just hold on to this. And we'll likely see Veda end up clashing with Kishinma over at point C. The two flyers, the ones that are mobile enough to make it happen. Really hard to cap at point A when everyone is focused on it. But Zhuhai has already lost one life on ANUBYSS and re-armored. So 3 minutes of survival have to be in the cards for Zhuhai.
See if he can deliver now. It's an intense fight on point A. As you mentioned, point C about to open. Zero Xenon, though, struggling to stay alive under the weltering pressure of ANUBYSS. They're brawling on this objective. They don't want to give it up. C has spawned, though, and the Flyers are 1v1 dueling, as you can see in the picture-in-picture. Both teams dropping strikers on point A, though. That's where the lion's share of the fighting is taking place. Tuobi now under pressure, struggling to stay alive. Resources are split. Heals low. Manbu on the Inferno now in the sights of Zhuhai, wants to deny that key damage dealer.
Jake, this dogfight goes crazy. Watching what's happening over at Point C is wild, and it's taking so long that we may even get a triple spawn. Point B about to come up. Are we? Oh, almost pulling off the capture with a Lysnes transform there. Doesn't quite happen, but Tuobi stays in the fight. And Point A still a huge war of attrition for both these teams. Ciaran very low, and we're seeing Veda try and go for the cap on Point C. Where the dogfight was happening, Veda's now got backup.
This could be a triple key spawn. ANUBYSS continuing to double down in Point A. Now Zex under pressure, struggling to stay alive. Losing the Tricera would be a critical loss here, and it does go down. So ANUBYSS with a decisive advantage on Point A. Will it be enough? Still, single player on Point C is Kishinma, denying any kind of capture there. So the resource split is tactically perfect right now from ANUBYSS. They're not giving anything up, but the third key to spawn surely would be too much.
I mean, who else do you pull off of these points? You've already given up your Flyer. You've given up your Stego. What can CB afford to pull out next, and what can ANUBYSS afford to pull out next? There's just nobody that mobile left. Manbu actually maybe about to go down. This could be very bad, and the game could get out of control quickly.
3 keys on the map. This could be a quick Eye of Mizra from here. Nobody able to grab an objective yet. Inferno dipping, ducking, diving, and dodging with all these heals. Gets a bit of armor regen to stabilize, and now tries to turn the tables back onto ANUBYSS, who still have yet been able to pick up this key.
We've sent out a Lysnes. That is not a bad move. Zhuhai's now defending Point B. Well, at Point C, Kishinma is slowly but surely winning this fight against the Stego. Very low health left. And I think we might see Zero Xenom go down very soon, opening things up for the Falcon to be unleashed onto the map. Grab a few captures as well. Point A stalled out as ever, and with a kill on it now as well. Reset starts to pick up the key. We could see a huge capture come in.
Another player came. Veda came to try to bail out on Point C, but the Stego had already fallen. So Kishinma won that 1v1. Key is picked up on Point A. Now ANUBYSS going to move towards that capture point. Start to secure a bit more value. Coming into an early lead here on Eye of Mizra. But if history is any guide, this is going to be a close one. Kishinma isn't able to quite snag the key despite winning that 1v1. No one able to duel Kishinma, though. This is the value of the Falcon on Eye of Mizra.
The value of a player like Kishinma. I mean, you do not get this every day. Even up against a Sky Raider and a Stego both, he was able to hold his own and ultimately turn this Point C into a place where strikers, where pilots from CB go to die.
He's just styling on him, dancing on him. They keep bringing reinforcements, and they keep being cut down. ANUBYSS, they do lose one armor form of the Lysnes. Manbu tries to pile on the pressure under a lot of damage himself, though. Will he be able to stay alive? Big advantage, though, in the scorecard for ANUBYSS. You got to start thinking about the clock. About half the time has run down. Storm should be coming very, very soon. Can only imagine the level of chaos that is going to happen when we get that.
And it's only small advantages that are stacking up for Team ANUBYSS, but it's enough. 37-2 is a pretty sizable gap to make up if you're not able to cap any of these keys, and all ANUBYSS have to do is keep that from happening. With a kill landing onto Zex, Ciaran secures that possibility for at least the next little while for his team, while Kishinma 1v2s at Point C and isn't even breaking a sweat.
He's generating so much value here, and the death timers are starting to add up. Team Celestial Being have given up quite a few points from these deaths, and ANUBYSS have just been untouchable. No one has been able to break their main setup, and now the pressure seems to have wilted. Celestial Being down 3 strikers, a 4th potentially in trouble, and doing their damnedest to stay alive to keep this brawl going, but without key targets to heal, it's so difficult even on Lumine.
ANUBYSS securing that key, illegal too. I mean, so many more points about to go their way, just as the key at Point A is about to spawn. If Ann goes down, we're cooked.
Where's Kishinma? I know he's hunting for more. Zhuhai's chasing down Ann. This baby Lysnes is so mobile, but Ann juking incredibly well to stay alive. May have shirked the damage right now. Veda takes a big melee stun, and the cleanup potentially for Zhuhai's.
Taking out Skyraider would be pretty big as well. I think Veda's back in his sights. No lock-on for the moment as he dips through Skyraider smoke, but 70-2 in the meanwhile. The kills, the keys, everything is going ANUBYSS's way, even as Zhuhai goes down. We've got 3 minutes, 4 almost left, and CB have got a mountain to climb.
Reset, looking uncontested here on the Inferno. The storm has come in. Pure chaos reigns right now on Eye of Mizra. A true test for these teams. Their coordination, their communication, auto locks down, ability to scout enemies down. It's all on raw instinct at this point. Tricera now under focus fire. ANUBYSS look to have a slight lead in the health pools, but it's a tight one.
It's nice that we're inside, you know, away from the sand, away from all that mess. With the Skyraider smokes, I mean, nobody's getting done any favors by the next minute or so. It is interesting that Point C has sort of just devolved, gone away from the focus. If we're going to have Kishinma live there, Kishinma's just going to live there. Now what's curious is that Point B is about to come up, and nobody was there up until we just had one show up in the nick of time. It's nice that we've got Skyraider paying some attention. Point C still under threat though, and once again, Kishinma's winning that duel all day.
Many small numbers engagements split around the map. Difficult for either team to secure a decisive advantage with 3 points online. It's up to the instincts of these players not to give any kind of an opening, but Kishinma just continuing to win decisive duels on Point C. So much pressure. Yeah, he's about to get another pick off. At least this form popped.
Oh my god, it's Aleseness too. That's somehow even more difficult, because Aleseness, you can't really unseat, but at the same time, Aleseness is not going to win versus Falcon, not on any day of the year. Point B has got a crazy fight going on as well with Aleseness and Skyraider, but that fight is won by Aleseness. A nice strike coming out of Twoby, who flexed to the Aleseness for this round specifically. Point cap on C, not going to work even with the transformation.
This could be game. Zhuhai bringing the key in. A few key captures will be enough to put ANUBYSS over the line. Clock running extremely low. And somebody has to stop Zhuhai. I think this is too little, too late. ANUBYSS cruising forward to a second map victory. 1 map off the championship here at the Mecha Break Invitational. And they know it too. The confidence is building. The outplay, fearsome. Minima, we saw you smiling. We saw you having a good time.
I mean, Minima, a monster that game. For me, all about Kishinma. So much pressure was C was never captured as a key, but how many people went there in the vain attempt to make something happen?
It is a Celestial being graveyard at Point C, and Kishinma's the Undertaker, man. He's just in there dropping bodies, and it starts to add up, right? And like, to be honest, Eye of Mizra, like, this is, I think, maybe the most difficult map here.
Yeah.
On Mecha Break, right? With 3 live objectives at once. All the pressure of those incredibly intense team fights on Point A, and at the same time, you have to divert resources to other points on the map. Incredible team fighting prowess from Team ANUBYSS, but I'm even more impressed with their ability to sacrifice key elements of those team fights and still be able to hold on, still not give up any ground on Point A.
That was the question that we were asking, right? As Point B came up and it became a triple objective map going, I mean, what does CB give up? What does ANUBYSS give up? Like, how do you actually manage a fight and a map that is so disparate? And it was nice that we saw the answer with the Falcon. I think that was always going to be a clear member that you split off. Aleseness is becoming an answer for both teams as well. You send the Flyer, then you send the Aleseness, because win or not, Aleseness can stall for a while. It was cool to see that adaptation because we simply haven't seen this level of play on Eye of Mizra throughout the entire tournament.
Yeah, no one has really pushed ANUBYSS this hard. I mean, Celestial being, you got to give them credit. They made that very, very difficult. Many teams have just crumbled under the withering pressure that ANUBYSS puts on. I mean, they are really strong in those team fights. They could just clean you off the map if you make any mistakes. So Celestial being are fighting hard. However, our Celestial being are just one step ahead of the meta, right? As much as Skyraider's gotten more popular, has been this powerful choice for disrupting the main group setups, for winning those team fights, ANUBYSS have shown that they can hold on without the Skyraider, and then they can create that pressure elsewhere on the map where they know Kishinma's going to win the 1v1. He can 1v1 any striker in the game. That's the advantage that a top Falcon have. It's rare to see a 1v1, in Mecha Break, but of course, Eye of Misery creates that natural opportunity.
Yeah, it's true, and I honestly, like, I don't think there's any striker. If you're assuming even skill, they can take down a Falcon. Even if Kishinma's not winning that 1v1, he's not losing it.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
The Welkin ban, right? It comes back in because Welkin, when you said that, I was like, well, what about the Welkin? But of course, it's banned on that map.
Yeah.
And so I think this is why they want to Welkin out. Is they say, you know what? Let's make this a game about 1v1s. Like, we know Celestia being they're great in the team fights. They can maybe go toe-to-toe. Although ANUBYSS maybe is a little bit better, even on that front. But when it comes down to these like low numbers engagements, Welkin, I think, is a bit of an X factor. So by eliminating that, it's like, all right, let's take our skill duel 1v1 on these side objectives with our Elysinus, with our Falcon. We know we're going to win. ANUBYSS just with total confidence in that fact. And it is a fact. Look at the merit point differential here. Minima, a beautiful game on this Lumine. No deaths, massive heal throughput.
I mean, another game with no deaths is impressive. I want to point out, this was a game where coming into it, we were talking about Anna as well, who got double MVP in the last series. I'm noticing now for the second game in a row that despite the fact that Minima is topping the leaderboards, Anne still topping Repair. Has a lot more to do. You know, maybe that's because the team is taking more damage. There is going to be a bit of give and take here, but Anne also didn't die that round. And this is a Lumine that, despite being on the losing end of things, is clearly a cornerstone of the team.
I think both of these Lumines are having fantastic games. They're showing what's possible on the support striker. But I think what's winning this for ANUBYSS is just their tactical read of the meta. You know, even I had become a believer in Sky Raider up to this point where I thought, you know what, maybe that team fighting utility is just better than Falcon's mobility and damage. Minima is going to snag the MVP here on map 2. Fantastic performance and clearly an emotional leader for the team, bringing that positive energy for the squad. And I mean, heck, I guess it's pretty easy to be positive. You're one map from lifting the trophy here at the Mecha Break Global Pre-Launch Invitational in Zhuhai, China. You're here to be the best team in the world. And on the cusp of it, Celestial being, this is their last chance. And where do they take us? They've already been defeated on Palm Bay. Maybe a Graceland, maybe that could change things up, but ANUBYSS, there's no holes in this team. I don't think there's a map that they're scared of right now.
It's true. These games are like close lockouts, which is weird to say because, you know, ANUBYSS look unstoppable on Palm Bay.
They look unbeatable. Like, I don't know how you defeat them. They look perfect.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
I can't even look at CB and go, well, you're doing this wrong, guys.
No.
Like, simply shape up. They're not. They're actually playing really, really good Mecha Break, and ANUBYSS are firing on all cylinders. It's really impressive to see, and it just occurred to me how apt of a metaphor firing on all cylinders is for this particular game.
Beautiful. Reset, I want to highlight this as well. The Inferno, just a masterful Inferno here in this situation. Fighting so well in the small room where you could be vulnerable, you could be caught out. Has a great read, a great consistency, trying to take as little resources as possible from the rest of the squad while delivering maximum DPS output. Everyone on ANUBYSS, I think, just has the perfect read of their role in the team composition. That's what makes them synergize so flawlessly.
And there's some crazy flexibility here as well. From Welkin to Tricera, Supadopa flexed this time around. The Stego to Elysinus change for Zhuhai's is massive. And I think Minima's the only person that doesn't flex in the same way as Anna's the only person that doesn't flex on CB because, I mean, you're never going to not run Illumine.
Do you ever just ban Illumine just to be an agent of chaos right now for CB? I feel like they've got to do something drastic here.
Oh, wow. And we're going to Sinkhole.
I'm scared. I mean, in the end, look, you got to win all 3 maps in the pool. Crowd Sinkhole, we've seen some epic matches on this map. So it's going to be an exciting one. However, I just feel like ANUBYSS are on a roll right now.
I mean, I X'd out for this pick by CB. They haven't won a Sinkhole map since round 1 of the tournament. They lost to Eve on it. They lost to Luna on it. Both teams that they did eventually go on to beat. To roll it here, to pick it here against ANUBYSS?
It's confident, but is it cocky? Because honestly, ANUBYSS, I mean, they've just shown they are absolute masters of the split objective fight. And nowhere is that more prevalent than on Crop Sinkhole. The Falcon ban, that puts some respect on Kishinma's name. You've got to do that. You cannot let him run the Falcon, dance around on you like he did in the last match. You just know he's going to be creating advantages all across the map with that Falcon striker. So I think this is a wise ban from Celestial Being. Cannot let this one through.
Glad to see that we have Manbu back on the Aquila, taking out the Alyssnes from ANUBYSS. It's an interesting move. Normally, Zhuhai is still really good on the Alyssnes. He's going to go back onto the Stego this time, opening up Kishinma for the Inferno. I'm not seeing any crazy comp plays out of either of these two.
One more mirror match. Run it back.
Yeah, my eyes are really drawn to this Ciaran Manbu, though. Ciaran's been a really good sniper. Hasn't drawn eyes like Manbu has, maybe because he's just playing on a team with such high skill levels, so he's matched. But by the same token, Manbu has very much jumped ahead of the squad. When Team CB put Manbu on Aquila, people listen. People focus.
It's a great call out. I think if there's going to be a difference maker on Crop Sinkhole, there's no better striker than Aquila to do just that. However, for me, ANUBYSS, the team play has been flawless. This mid-fight on Crop Sinkhole, Celestial Being, I think this has just got to go their way. While you could make a comeback, I just don't know if that's achievable against a squad like ANUBYSS. You think they're going to give you a triple cap? Keep dreaming.
Yeah, they're not going to go down without a fight. And if it is that CB win this, it is going to be close. But they've picked it for a reason, right? We haven't seen them find a win on it just yet, or at least in recent history. Can CB do it here? Because if they can find another victory on Crop Sinkhole here, that could be the start of the reverse sweep. And I think that's just what you got to hope for at this point.
Early Aquila trades on the rollout. Both teams looking for that early edge. Both teams taking that flanking angle. High ground battle for the Inferno. It's so interesting to see these two teams clash. They have both such similar reads in the meta. Twoby under pressure from Super Dopa, though. We've seen how important it is for Super Dopa to look for those pickoffs in the sky. And Veda on the Inferno, always going to be a target when he tries to pump that damage.
It's so funny because of the last game. I forgot how scary Super Dopa was on Welcome, but then I see him in the literal sky chasing down your Inferno, and I go, oh yeah, that's right. That's why this thing gets banned.
Commitment onto the point early for ANUBYSS. They're trying to gamble for a quick cap. Twoby from behind, though, making sure that doesn't come to fruition. Veda over the top on the Inferno, denying that as well. Manbu extremely low, though, on Celestial Being. It's got to be careful. ANUBYSS healthy across the squad. Two players now dropping to the precipice. And an early advantage. Super Dopa opens it up onto Ann. That's a critical death. Manbu falls just behind. Supports down. Super Dopa, it cost him his life, but hasn't he done enough? 4 striker kills already on the board for ANUBYSS. This is assuredly going to be an A-cap.
No Welkin box to come back and answer Twoby, but Kishinma chasing him down. Shutting down the Welkin would be huge. No A-cap to come in just yet, but with BNC about to come in, this is where I'm expecting to see a huge shift, because ANUBYSS do nothing better than play the entire map.
Minima instantly, he's going to gamble, leave the squad, trusting that they can sustain without his heals. He's going to get a cap for his reward. C goes as well for them, and so despite being unable to grab A, they're winning the team fight. Reset finds the pick onto Veda, and this game is getting out of control.
Oh my God,
cap
triple
for
cap!
ANUBYSS. They want to finish this with a shutout. Celestial Being struggling, down 1 striker, down 2 now. ANUBYSS, high HP across the board, smothering Celestial Being, not able to find any purchase whatsoever on Crop Sinkhole.
Manbu and Ciaran, the 1v1 that I came to see when so much pressure is on Manbu.
Manbu's falling back. Can he escape, though? He's in trouble. Ciaran smells blood in the water. Looking to chase, but not too much. Great discipline. Not taking unnecessary risks. Knows the advantage his team has. Kishinma wins a fight here in the main group. Celestial Being crumbling. And ANUBYSS, they can taste that win. They're eyeing that trophy in the center of the stage. Triple cap. Untouchable so far. Celestial Being waiting for the respawn. Gonna gather for one big attempt. 1 striker to pressure B. The rest now trying to get a flip on C.
We've played the game for just about a minute, maybe a little more, and ANUBYSS are already a third of the way to victory. This will not be a complete shutout, though. Twoby manages to capture a point C, and that alone may be some of the biggest victories we see from CB this game if it continues going this way. Let this be the start of something special for CB, because otherwise point C may be all they own.
Xenon going solo here, trying to get a flip, but can't win a 1v1 against Inferno, who's too big of a threat. Staying alive for the moment, but seems to be bleeding out slowly. Split pressure now coming in from Celestial Being, trying to fight on both A and B at the same time, but they drop a striker in the process. ANUBYSS, SuperDopa here into the backline, willing to mix it up, willing to take the fight to Celestial Being.
Halfway to victory now. ANUBYSS have everything but point C. Even Veda jumping onto the low ground. Can't afford to get too antsy. Even on the Inferno with some of the highest damage in the game. Comes back up, finds SuperDopa, who slams him right back down to the ground.
So fearless right now is SuperDopa, charging into battle with Veda, who's forced to constantly kite away, cannot deliver the damage that Inferno would like to. And a big grab from SuperDopa. Not quite able to finish the kill, but it's extremely close, constantly keeping the pressure on Inferno. And Kishinma, on the other hand, is staying focused, clearly damaging down this main group, just kiting the enemy Welkin, not looking to get distracted.
Almost hits the slam again. Ciaran gonna take out Manbu. And it is going to be another big haymaker dealt to CB. Zex falls as well. 600, nearly 700 to the 101 of CB. ANUBYSS still have this large and in charge, but I bet you they are eyeing point C. Twoby, almost a huge play to capture point B. Could have been the start of something huge, but instead look across the map at Welkin, and we are back to the triple cap for ANUBYSS.
Get that trophy ready, ANUBYSS. They are here to claim the throne, representing Japan, sending Celestial Being now home in what looks to be an almost certain second place. The triple cap on Crowdsingle, 800 points, ticking up higher and higher. ANUBYSS, they've been dominant all tournament long, and there looks to be no change in the grand final.
SuperDopa just laying in the sky, observing the work that he's been able to do so far. I can't help but wonder, will CB be able to capture anything else? They've got so many people on point C, but Kishinma's shown up just in time to stop any cap.
It's just merciless from ANUBYSS, looking to finish the game off right here, right now, with a triple cap on Crowdsingle. It's hard to get more dominant in Mecha Break. Your champions of the Mecha Break Global Pre-Launch Invitational here in Zhuhai, China. It's ANUBYSS, ticking up over 1,000, and a victory for ANUBYSS as they claim the trophy.
We came here to find the best team in Mecha Break, and I leave without a doubt, Jake. ANUBYSS, it is not even close. No pilot, no striker is able to touch these folks.
The search is over, and this squad of 6 representing Japan, Team ANUBYSS, are your champions here at the Mecha Break Global Invitational, your first champions in global Mecha Break play. They've been having fun all tournament long, been such fan favorites, but now I think the gravity of the moment is setting in. They were able to secure that win in such a dominant fashion through incredible team play, masterful individual performances across their strikers, and now the trophy lift.
Congratulations to ANUBYSS to win the 2025 Mecha Break Pre-Launch Global Invitational Champions. Congratulations again to ANUBYSS. Please move to the left side. Please move to the left side seats. Thank you. In these 4 days of the 2025 Mecha Break Pre-Launch Global Invitational, we experienced the charm of Mecha Break with players from 3 different regions and witnessed the champions are crowned. Now, let's welcome the Senior Vice President of Kingsoft Corporation, CEO of Amazing Season Games, producer of Mecha Break, Mr. Chris, to present the FMVP.
再一次欢迎 Chris。
Welcome.
相信屏幕前的驾驶员也很期待是谁获得了
I believe all the pilots
请
were
Chris 先生
expecting
为我们
the
揭晓。
FMVP. Please, Chris. Kishima is your FMVP.
恭喜 Kishima 选手。
Congratulations to
有请你来到我们
Kishima.
舞台的左侧
Please
来，
come to the middle of the stage.
恭喜你拿到这次交流赛的
Congratulations
FMVP。
on the
下面我们将有
FMVP.
请 Chris 先生为选手颁发
And
2025
please,
铁线机
Chris
先锋
present
国际
the
交流赛
FMVP medal
FMVP 奖
for
牌。
Kishima.
感谢 Chris， 请两
Thank
位
you,
面向
Chris.
摄像机站好，
Please
合影留念。
stand and take a photo with us.
再一次感谢 Chris，
Thanks again
请
to
移步至
Quiz.
台下休息。
Please back downstairs.
下面有请其他选手
And
回到
let's
舞台。
welcome all the players back to the stage.
相信几位拿到冠军后一定
I
有很
think
多感想想要
you
分享。
have
那
many
现在我们
feelings
就请依
after
次介
this
绍下自己，
championship.
并分享一下
So
获奖
please
感受吧。
introduce yourself and share what was your feeling. What is your feelings right now?
チームアヌビス、チームアヌビスで、関所トライセラを担当していますスパドパです、優勝できて非常に嬉しいです。ありがとうございました。
大家好，我是
Hello
来自
everyone.
阿努比斯战队的。
I'm
此次
Super
我
Duper
们
from
能获奖，
ANUBYSS.
我非常的开心。
I'm very happy to win this championship. Thank you.
アクイラとステーコを担当していました。今回のネームはシャレンという名前でいきましたが、一応フルネームはシャレンアルティメット来航ハオマルと言います。皆さん強くて本当に心強かったです。ありがとうございます。
大家好，我是来自
Hello
阿努比斯
everyone.
战队的 Sarah。
I'm Sarah from ANUBYSS.
参加此次大赛，我
I'm
非常
very
的开心。
happy to participate in this global invitational. Thank you.
リセットと言います。今回このようなチームで大会に出れて優勝もできたので本当嬉しく思っております。
大家好，
Hello
我是来自
everyone.
阿努比
I'm
斯战队
Reset
的 Reset。
from
我在
ANUBYSS.
其中主要是使用三角龙。
I was a
请大家多指
Trisara
教。
main. Thank you.
チームアヌビスの、ファルコンと、インフェルノ、あとハリケーンを主に担当しています岸間です、今回は MVP まで受賞させてもらったということで非常になんというか心がいっぱいです。ありがとうございます。
大家好，
Hello
我是来
everyone.
自阿努比斯战
I'm
队的
Kishima from
然后在
ANUBYSS.
游戏当中呢，我多使
I
用的
mainly
是地狱
use
火。那此次
Inferno
呢也
and
能获得
Hurricane.
FMVP，
I'm
我个人
very
也是非常
thrilled
的
to
开
be
心，
the
非常的荣
FMVP.
幸的。
にはお、こんにちは。チームアヌビスで主にデュエンとステーゴを担当しているリハイズです。もう優勝できて最高です。一緒に戦ってくれたチームメンバーに今感謝を申し上げます。ありがとう。
大家好，我是
Hello
来自阿努比
everyone.
斯
I'm
战队的
Zhuhai
记
from
者。我在其中主要
ANUBYSS.
使用的机兵呢是毛瑟
I
和
mainly
剑
use
龙。
Falcon
此次能
and
够夺冠，
Stego.
我和我的队伍都非常的开
It's a
心。
great pleasure for us to win this championship.
チームアヌビスで、ヒーラーを担当していましたミニマです。そうですね、試合終わった感想としては、味方が強い味方が強いありがとうございます。
大家好，
Hello
我是来自
everyone.
阿努比
I'm
斯战队
Minima
的
from
米娜。在其
ANUBYSS.
中呢，我主要使
I'm
用
the
的是
team
卢米
healer
娜的骑兵。
supporter
然后
and
我们
mainly
队在
use
此次也
Luminate.
展现出我们的实力。
We show our
再次
strength.
呢，我们
in
对
this
此
tournament.
次获胜也非常的开心，也非常的荣
I'm
幸。
very happy to win this championship.
那再一次感谢6位选手，也
Thank
恭
you
喜你
again,
们获
6
得
players,
2025
and
铁线机先
congratulations
锋
again
国际交
to
流赛的
win
冠
this
军。
championship
请再
of
次捧起属于
2025
你
Mecha
们的
Break
冠
Pre-Launch
军奖
Global
杯。
Invitational, and please lift your trophy again.
2025铁线机先锋国际交流赛已经
2025
全部
Mecha
结束
Break
了。
pre-launch Global Invitational has come to an end. In these 4 days, we witnessed many great plays and all the efforts of all the players. We look forward to more greatness from them. So this is the end of the Global Invitational. Thank you, all the pilots. We'll see you in the near future.